Hey, and I learned you ain't in love with this, trying to fire your publicist. I inspire above the mess. Your desire requires this. Lost Angel City don't pity us, fully aware. That's why I don't flinch at a bully scared.
Ephraim Smith, World Impact, UYWI, Urban Ministry Institute 360 Conference, and I am with not just someone who is speaking at the UYWI 360 Conference, but a friend of World Impact, Christian hip-hop artist, my man, Propaganda.
What
Good
up,
to see you again, man.
How y'all feeling, man?
You know, some people would see you as a rapper, a hip-hop artist, a spoken word artist, an urban preacher. How do you describe your ministry calling?
Man, well, all of the above, man. In a lot of ways, man, and it's not even to get all meta on you, but like in a lot of ways, man, like I have the same ministry call every Christian does. You know, it's the Great Commission is to make disciples. You know what I mean? So I have to take that call and place it in whatever vehicle that God has me driving. And right now, for this moment, it's almost like a tool belt. Like you just pull out the right tool for that mission. So if the right tool is hip hop, let's do that. The right tool is poetry, let's do that. The right tool is a meal, let's do that.
You know, it's interesting to me that when you spoke to us this morning, you talked about the city being your father, the city raising you. A lot of people, when they talk about the inner city, they talk about how bad it is. They talk about how we need people to bring Jesus to the city. You actually talk about how the city helped develop your theology, your character, your sense of calling. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, just the idea of just, if you get a good understanding of just the theological concept of redemption, you know what I mean, and what it means to make something right, to purchase something and make it right, then you see, that's your lens. You're gonna see God's fingerprints and see redemption in wherever you look. You know what I mean? So for me, I was trained to look for evidence of His grace. So for me, hip hop was evidence of God's grace because I got out of the gang life. You know what I'm saying? Because hip hop was present. So just it's almost like living out and seeing what I was hearing from the pulpit makes me look at the city and be like, well, in death there's life. You know what I mean?
Now, World Impact is about the empowerment of indigenous urban leaders, believing that we call them to Christ, which is important, new life, but that there's also a mission and purpose for them in their own communities to be leaders. And so I see you as an urban indigenous leader, but I also see you as something like a metropolitan. I mean, there's a broader metropolitan context of Los Angeles that has framed the way you do ministry and how you see people.
I love cities. I love the concept of the city. You know what I mean? And just this vibrant organism that's alive, and the living cells are the people there. You know what I'm saying? Like I love that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
So we were founded within the riots of Los Angeles back in the late 60s, early 70s. I mean, so it was primarily in those days white missionaries coming into a predominantly black community. Los Angeles has changed over the last 43 years. So if you were gonna give us some wisdom at World Impact of how we think about kingdom advancement, being missional in Los Angeles now, what wisdom would you give us?
Number one, you better learn Spanish quick. You know, that's number one. Really understand, you know, the immigration story. You know what I mean? And how it's unique to LA, that unique version of it. You know, because you have the Valley on the other side of downtown Los Angeles. Even their story is different because they were farm workers. You know what I'm saying? They were migrant farm workers. On this side of LA, it was always urban and industrial. You have generations from the 1800s of Latinos that have been here. You know what I mean?
And we basically were founded in the context of the migration story.
We were
African Americans migrating from the South. We need to be more in tune with the immigration.
You got to understand the immigration. Even the modern migrations, like the influx of the hipsters, if you will. And
the gentrification.
The gentrification. And what's unique about Los Angeles, I'm gonna get real deep on you.
Oh, man,
is
please.
That you have the traditional model that really like displaces a lot of people. So like Echo Park, Silver Lake, you know, Las Feliz, like that's more like the traditional where the rent just gets jacked up and people gotta leave and they flood to like Palmdale, Lancaster, or the Inland Empire. if that's the case, then what didn't happen in the 90s was nobody taught us how to live together. Like nobody taught us how to live with Latinos. So when they moved into Jordan Downs, when they moved into Nickerson Gardens, we were Willie lynching. We fighting over the same land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you have this influx, another influx. Somebody teach us how to live together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Teach us how to live together. Let those that were already there not feel like outsiders in their own land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And let not those who moved in feel as if they're privileged to be here because we paid for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Teach us how to live together.
Yeah.
And I think that if that happened, man, I think we may not see some of the same tensions we saw
Man, I
in the
appreciate
90s.
that.
Yeah.
You know, at World Impact, we have the credibility and the witness of 43 years in urban ministry. But you know what? We're not too old to learn. We're not too old to be at the feet of friends, of partners. And I know that in my coming on board with World Impact as president, one of my desires and deep passions is that we're going to sit at the feet of brothers and sisters in cities all around the country, all around the world, because 43 years old is not too old to learn. I'm 44, and I know I still have a lot to learn. So if I have a lot to learn and I'm 44, World Impact, we have a lot to learn at 43. Thanks, man, for the wisdom, and thanks for the friendship.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Me and the Father are one. Christ is the vine, I am a branch. Fruit is of God, I can be pruned, I can be cut, but never be snatched. Sheep of his pasture, Christ is the shepherd. Shepherd's a lion, the lion's a lamb. For Abraham was, he said that I am. And no one can take me up out of his hand, cause me and the Father are one, we are one. Yeah, I know.